I'm Hattie Volker from Find Your True Voice, and today I'm talking about the fifth in the 5 A's of performance mindset, and that is aims. And the reason I want to talk to you about aims, because I talked to you about goals last time, but I think it's a subject that could do with going into in some depth, because I think we sometimes lose clarity over what our aims are. And the way I like to see it is we have different aims. We have short, medium, and long-term aims. And they all give us this sense of direction. And for me, it's really important that our short and medium-term aims are achievable stretches. Because if we view them as unachievable, we'll probably give up before we start. But if we see them as achievable, but a stretch to achieve, then we'll be learning in the process. And the state of flow is really interesting. And the state of flow was first defined by Mihai Csikszentmihalyi. So it has to be challenging enough that you are interested and stimulated by it. Because if it's too much of a challenge, you'll give up. And if it's too little of a challenge, it'll be boring. And we all want it to be both interesting and challenging enough that we feel stimulated by it. And when you are challenged and interested, not over-challenged, not under-challenged, but challenged just at the right level, then where your ability is just slightly under the challenge in some ways, where ability and challenge meet, that's where flow is. That's where you go into this dreamlike state. And so when you look at your goals and your aims and the things you're doing, it's about making them challenging enough to keep them interesting, and also to expand your realm of ability. So they need to match or be slightly over your current skill set, because that way you are growing and staying interested, and that's when you get into this flow state. Your long-term goals, now they can be things that you think, I'm not sure how I'm going to achieve it. And there's this wonderful process, I think it's an NLP process, which is called future pacing, where you set out this major goal that you have in your life and you backtrack what would happen just before you walk on stage at Covent Garden or in front of a hall of thousands of people to give a speech. What's the thing that happens just before that? You know, you're standing in the wings. How are you feeling? What are you doing? And you go back and back one step at a time until you reach now. And it gives you your first achievable stretch step to take. So if you're standing in the wings, what happens? Well, you're sitting in the dressing room before that. What happens before that? You're in the rehearsal phase, or maybe you get a call from your manager if you have a manager at that stage. What happens before that? Right to where are you now? What is the first step on this epic journey to where you want to be? And it's about breaking it down so you come back to now, and you then feel invigorated to take that first achievable but stretching step. And all of this adds to this sense of excitement and joy that I think is a far better motivator than the stick and the should and the ought and a have to that we often use to get ourselves motivated. So instead of, I should be practicing right now, if you think, well, if I want to get there, the step before that, the step before that, the step before that, actually my first step is to learn this song. My first step is to put myself out there for a job I didn't think I was capable of. Or maybe it's the other way. My first step is to put myself out for a job that I thought was below me, but actually in my grand plan, that job is the first step, because I'm going to use it to learn this, that, and the other, or I'm going to use it to go in front of these people. And then everything you do has this sense of purpose to it, a sense of joy, because you are looking to achieve that wonderful aim that you have in life, but you're doing it in a way that feels achievable. In the same way, if we flip the perspective, as we often do, and say, what I want is 100% right now. I want to go on stage and I want to nail it right now. What you've instantly done is set yourself an unachievable goal and set yourself up for failure, because not only is 100% not achievable, because even if you in the moment think I achieved 100%, you will later pick it apart and go, well, that didn't work well and I didn't like that, because that's what we do. Also, 100% isn't desirable, because if we do it perfectly, it lacks creativity and it lacks soul. So you've set an unachievable, undesirable goal, and you've set it usually because you want to feel safe. So instead of aiming for 100% so you can feel safe, think about where you are and think about the reason you're doing the thing. What is it you want to achieve from this particular activity? What's the next thing on your checklist that is an achievable stretch goal? And you will be surprised how taking the pressure off the idea of what you feel you have to achieve with this will actually improve the quality of your performance. So I've said this before, if you stop aiming for 100% and you feel like you're at 60%, your current skill zone, 60%, and you actually then go, I'm going to aim for 61%. And I've said this to people before, don't aim any higher than 61%. If you aim for 62, as far as I'm concerned, you have failed. That taking the pressure out allows you to enjoy it, which will allow you to relax, which will allow your performance to be better. But if you then layer on this idea of being specific as to what you want to achieve from this particular activity, and you say, analytically, what I want to achieve from this particular activity is I want to make eye contact. I want to make gentle, meaningful, empowered eye contact with a number of people in the audience, because that's my next step. That's my next bit of the learning curve. Then one, that's an achievable goal, and it still could be a stretch because you might find eye contact really hard. And two, you haven't set yourself up for failure. If you go, I want to go and nail it this time, I need to get 100% in order to be good enough, then you know you won't succeed. These achievable goals can make you feel good in the moment because you're not setting yourself up to fail. And the thing is, with setting ourselves up to fail, we're aware that we've set ourselves up to fail on some level. We're aware that there's no way we're going to get 100%. So we know this. So we go out predicting and expecting failure. If you go out saying, my main aim is to make eye contact, and I say that because that's one of the things that I do in order to address some of my anxieties. I know that if I make eye contact, my anxieties reduce. So sometimes I go out and say, my one aim in this particular thing is to make eye contact and to engage with people. What I find is, because I'm focusing on that and not trying to get everything right, then a success is just there and I relax. And then all the other things that I've trained my body to do, like talk and speak about something I understand and love, just happen. And I free myself up to do that. And I let go of that self-sabotaging overthinking, because I've given myself one target for success. And the more I practice the eye contact, the more that becomes a neural pathway that I don't have to think about. So then I can layer on the next goal for myself. So this last in the series of 5 is all about having aims, having, in the short or medium term, achievable stretch aims to go towards your main aim that makes you feel excited. That main aim can be a real stretch. So then break it down into these achievable stretch goals so that every day has this sense of purpose and joy about it. I'm going to do this now because this is the next thing on my list I want to achieve. If you haven't listened to the rest of the series of 5, I will put the links to those, the blurb that goes with this particular recording. Have a listen to those if you haven't already listened to those. Thank you so much if you have listened to all of them. I hope they all hang together and give you this sense of joy and achievable goals and aims to have. I'm Hattie Volker from Find Your True Voice. Thank you so much for listening.